your input though, man. It's good. It's good.
It's good fun.
The res is so good.
I'll see you later, guys.
Cheers. Watch you don't fall over. Awesome. Oh. You right, Scott?
Give me another all work together.
Oh my goodness.
Are you tired? I think I'm really tired. Like being here since Sunday, it's like, whoa, it's catching up on me. And especially when you guys release PTR updates in the middle of the night in Germany, and I'm like, oh no, it's so bad. Yeah, all right,
exciting
guys.
Stuff.
Yeah.
See, I wore the Mercy shirt because you know.
Oh, dear. Well, I've got Mercy wings on my shirt.
There you go.
So awesome. Cheers, bro. Cheers. All right then. So I guess we should probably talk about the changes. Should we talk about Mercy first?
Sure.
Okay, I know we're playing. We just had Smex. That was Smex from the UK World Cup team.
Okay, yeah.
And he plays a lot of Zarya and he plays D.Va.
Right.
So we were getting his input on the D.Va changes, and it was quite interesting. But yeah, so I don't know. I think we should probably start with Mercy.
Right.
I'll tell you what. Let's leave this game and see if we can.
You're gonna get a penalty.
I've already got. I think I've got the penalty. No, I think it's gone. I got it from the PTR crashing last night over and over again. I'd be in a game and it crashed. I'm like, no, so bad. Yeah, so Mercy. Wow.
Yeah.
So, all right then. I guess the best way to start this would be, like, why? Why did you do it? Why was Mercy changed like that?
So, I mean, it's something we've been talking about for quite some time. And if you think about Mercy, like, over the last, like, few months, I think we've been sort of dancing around, like, how to make her resurrected ultimate more fun, like more usable.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there was the changes with her becoming invulnerable. Yeah. Because at one point it was, the gameplay was wait for your enemy team to be dead, hit in, res them, and then you die.
Yeah.
And then it became like, okay, well, maybe now we can let you leave. But we're still sort of like, it's still like, there's still not something here that's quite right.
Yeah.
And we really just sort of took a step back, looked at it and said like, hey, is that like moment, which is really awesome. I mean, it's like the moment of like resing your entire team is amazing. But
for Mercy, it feels amazing. Yes, for Mercy.
On the other side, it's like, oh man, do we have to kill them all again?
Yeah.
Like, but I mean, it's something we just like took a step back, looked at it, and said like, hey, what if that's not the ultimate? And then how could we like push Mercy's fantasy? Like, how can we make Mercy even more awesome?
Yeah.
And I think the immediate thing was like, well, what if she can fly? She's almost there.
She can almost.
She was
fly,
almost there. She was almost there anyway. It's like you can like, you know, head up to someone, you can glide around and so forth. What if just flat out you could fly? And that was really, we tried it out and we were like, yeah, okay, this is pretty good. It
does. I'm not a Mercy player, so I'm not a Mercy player at all. And I've played her on the obviously played her on the PTR today, and it feels like very there's like a nice flow to it. You feel like you're doing stuff. Like I'm flying around, I'm popping a heal, popping a res, then I'm like, you know, popping Valkyrie to get the refresh on my res, and I'm popping another res, and then I'm chain healing, and I'm flying up into the sky, and obviously I'm doing a crazy amount of damage, but I think that's being changed, isn't it? I think there was...
Yeah, it was like 1 hour after it went out. Like Jeff was like, because we had talked about it earlier, and we're like, it just didn't make, I think it just didn't make the PTR build.
Oh, okay.
And we were like, yeah, okay, the gun's probably a little bit too good, because, you know, Mercy's supposed to be about supporting her team, not turning into...
It's like she suddenly has a mental breakdown. She's like, oh, and then she just flies in. It's so mad. So, like, how would it change? Like, maybe, I don't know, making a reload or something like that? Or just reduce the rate of fire?
I'm not sure exactly. I think it's probably like a rate of fire.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a little bit faster now.
Yes.
A little.
Yeah, just a little, right?
Just a little smidge.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of interesting to me, the radical change to the hero. Like, because D.Va is kind of going through this as well. And, like, Roadhog has kind of gone through this as well, but Roadhog started off with other changes, like, to his hook, like, you know, to begin with. So is this like a progression of, like, are we going away from seeing, like, more minor changes to the heroes to just going into this, like, we're going to do massive revamped versions of the heroes if we feel they need something changing? We're just going to, like, totally go for it.
It just depends on what the heroes need.
Yeah.
That's really what it sort of comes down to. Like I said, we've been getting all this feedback from players as we've been playing, all the feedback from ourselves, you know, what we've been feeling as we've been playing. And these kind of issues, I mean, certainly like at the pro level, you know, all the like talking about like how D.Va, how oppressive she was.
Yeah.
You know, like the changes that we wanted to make for that. So.
I think I remember for me with Mercy, it was like why wasn't Res like line of sight specific? Like, and I think of like basic changes. Like when we spoke the other day about D.Va, and we were talking like I didn't know about the changes then, but obviously you did it, pulling my leg, and I'm like, D.Va's defense matrix. It would be nice if it had like a visual representation if it was about to fail, and that was like that's the level I'm thinking of in terms of like not like let's give them missiles, you know that type of.
But it makes sense though.
Well, it does. But how do you get to that? Like where like are we going from this like a simple answer to like let's just go crazy and let's just give them missiles and make a fire while she's moving.
Again,
and all of that.
A lot of it comes down to like we actually thought we could improve D.Va's gameplay just straight up. I mean, it's something where like her play style of, you know, in all the cases it was, you know, fly around, get in someone's face, just shoot them. I mean, there's not. I mean, her guns are not. You know, there's no breathing on the guns. It's like
it's point blank.
Pretty basic stuff there. So like, and we were always thinking it's like, hey, she probably could have another ability.
Yeah.
Right. So again, at that point, it's like, well, if we're gonna like take some of the defense away, let's give her some of like the offense back she had, but in a different form, not just like gun power. Because like just increasing the power of the guns is probably one of the like
that's
least
kind of
interesting ways to give her power.
Obviously, giving a missile is slightly
it's
more
way better.
Right? Okay,
it's so much better. Makes so much more sense. Yeah, we got to balance that now. But we'll work it out.
It's giving yourself more problems.
Work it out well. Yeah, but these are nice kind of problems to have.
Yeah.
You know, the things where it's like, hey, we made it here more fun. Sweet.
Yeah, I mean, look at this.
Balance it after.
We've got a resin. It's so crazy. It's like, I mean, like a lot of fights in Overwatch are generally lost when you get the first kill, right? Yeah. So you get the pick, and it's like, I think I seen percentages thrown around. I think it was Winston's lab. It was like 80% or something chance that you're going to lose that fight now. It was basically very high. Yeah. Mercy like counters that now. I guess actually a pretty interesting question would be, like Doomfist. Obviously, his fist is it's quite big, and it's quite a big topic with him instantly being able to kill quite a lot of the cast, especially when he combos them into a wall with a fist.
Sure.
Is it not that much of an issue, like to you guys, because you knew Mercy was being changed? So you're like, Mercy can actually counter the fact he can instantly pick somebody.
Yeah. Interestingly, we didn't know about the had not figured out what we were going to do with Mercy.
Okay.
Until after like Doomfist had come out. And
yeah.
It wasn't. And to be honest, thinking about all the conversations we had, like the fact that it quote unquote counters Doomfist like that didn't even really come up. For Doomfist, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about like the fact that it's like, hey, you know, he has this one-shot ability, and for us, especially because of the Roadhog change, and one of the things we talked about that was we didn't like the one-shot ability on him. But I mean, for us, we think that is, wow, that's a whole lot of people that you just flew over.
Yeah.
Who's
that is like the perfect
counter. But we looked at it as like different circumstances because, you know, Doomfist, an offense hero.
Yeah.
You know, someone you expect that kind of thing. And we've had other quote unquote one-shot kills.
Yeah. So Roadhog is obviously Roadhog's obviously doing right. Yeah.
Widowmaker.
Yeah, but
so forth.
Yeah.
But the weird thing with Roadhog, which I think sort of made us like really look at it, was he's supposed to be a tank.
Yeah.
And like his gameplay style was like turning into like anything but he was turning into this like lone wolf flanker.
Yeah. So basically,
it was just
the way you intended him to be was like the way I've always seen it is Roadhog is like a sort of area control tank that should be within the team. You would need to respect the hook because he pulls you in and you die.
Yeah.
And was that always the intention with Roadhog?
That was always one vision of him. Yeah, certainly. Yeah, I mean that was like for us that was the most straightforward one. Yeah. Like you said, the gameplay style that evolved
over time.
That over time, like that was the part where it was just like, hey, why is this big huge tank flanking me and one-shotting me? And to be honest, like I said, it really when it comes down to it, I mean, people would ask us like, hey, might we end up making changes to Doomfist?
Yeah.
Well, we have in the sense that we've like reduced the hitbox of that because that was more of a bug than anything.
Yeah.
Contributing to the wow, that didn't feel fair. But we were hoping that like the warning the sound warning for Doomfist as he charges up lets you know that's coming, and then you can like reposition yourself.
Actually, I do have an interesting question. So I play a lot of Reinhardt, and why is Doomfist able to cancel his fist and Reinhardt's not able to cancel his charge? Because Reinhardt's charge is very readable, like with the wind-up period. Whereas the fist, you do hear the sound effect, but like he's not committed to it. But Reinhardt is kind of committed to his.
Oh, he's committed to his charge.
Yeah. So why isn't Doomfist committed to the fist, like in a sense?
That's we can work that out still. That's one of those things where trying to find like a consistent, like we're trying to be consistent about it, but at the same time, yeah, it's complicated, and I've talked to Jeff about that.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah.
It's the main stage, guys. It's got like these.
Oh, I think it's a dance contest.
Oh, is it? I think we can actually we can click. There you go. Oh, we could, but it seems to have frozen. Anyway.
It'd be a big distraction, but that's something like the interaction between. Yeah, a lot of like the interaction between the abilities. That's where like some of the the hardest calls that we actually have to make and design. Really come down to. So we'll continue to think about that.
I guess it could be a product as well of Reinhardt being an older character compared to Doomfist. Maybe.
Not so much that. I mean, in some cases, like some of the stuff might be bugs. I mean, I'm not really sure. I haven't personally worked on him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, that's kind of thing. Like, just keep giving the feedback. Keep going with these situations. I know there's going to be some situations that pop up with the new Mercy Ultimate that we're going to have to resolve, I'm sure, like from PTR testing. So, and not just from like, wow, this is crazy.
No, I
this is crazy, insanely powerful, but like situations in terms of like the cooldown with the res and resetting that and exchange here. There's stuff. But we'll work it out.
So the way the res works right now is we've got a 30-second cooldown on the single target res. If we pop the ultimate, then we get the res back, don't we?
Okay.
So we use it again, and then it's on a 10-second cooldown.
Right.
But if we get riptide, we die.
Yeah. Mercy healing yourself doesn't help when a riptide. Like.
It was actually interesting what Smex brought up while he was playing. Like he said, the Mercy Ultimate. That's the dance competition. Wow. I guess you guys can hear that. But yeah, he brought up the I forgot what I was going to say now. The dance competition. Specs with the ultimate. It's very similar to Lucio when you're using the ultimate and healing with the chain heal. Yeah. It's like a very similar effect to Lucio's heal.
It's similar, but like with Lucio, all that extra shielding really prevents a lot of burst damage.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, no, in terms of Lucio's amped heal, we're talking about, like
like
comparing her,
Yeah, the nice thing about Lucio Ultimate's always been it's like, oh, here's all this new hit point pool that they have to work through. Mercy Ult doesn't give you any extra health. It's just a bunch. She can just heal her team. So
yeah, I think it makes her regenerate faster as well, slightly.
Yes,
she doesn't
for
have
her.
Yeah, for her. Yeah. I don't know. It's very interesting. Like these were honestly. I mean, it's been quite a month for Overwatch, especially with Deathmatch coming out. But these are like, I would not have. I mean, if you sat me down for quite a few years and said, what would you do to these heroes? Like I said, it was very basic changes I was always thinking about. And I guess a lot of the community was thinking about that as well.
Sure.
Not these just like totally radical changes. I guess like a slightly controversial question with Mercy would be, were you not ever worried about increasing the skill cap of the hero too much? Considering like, I mean this is the nicest way possible, but she's like a lower skill player in a way can be effective.
So it's funny because we've actually like done a bunch of stats in terms of and looked at like comparing like lower skill players to higher skill players and what the win rate differences between like the heroes for that is. It's kind of interesting. And there's some things like you would like totally expect in terms of there's characters like Widowmaker or Sombra, and the difference between like very high skill players with those heroes is
extreme.
Pretty extreme. For Mercy, she's not actually on the like super low end of things. She's actually kind of in the middle, in the sense that like the win rate for her, she's actually got a really good win rate sort of across the board. But it's something where like at lower skill Mercies versus higher skill Mercies, there is still a gap there.
Yeah. And is this a way of making the like these changes are definitely going to show you who is a better Mercy player? Whereas before it was kind of who could hide the best,
Well, sort of. I mean, a really good Mercy is really all about making the right decisions.
Yeah.
You know, where should she be? Should she be healing this person? Can she actually go forward and feel like she can get away with healing this, this offensive character, versus having a moment where it's like, okay, where I need to like protect myself.
Yeah.
Where do I need to be so my team can help peel? If the enemy team's like diving on me. There's just a whole lot of like positional gameplay and decisions about healing or buffing damage or pulling out the gun. That's always been a thing. Because when I play Mercy, a lot of times it's like, hey, like I don't get a lot of help from my teammates to help heal. So I was playing a game recently, and this Doomfist was coming down on me, and it's like, well, there's a Doomfist on me. What am I going to do? Well, I pulled out the pistol and headshot him a few times and actually took him out, and I was like, yeah. So I think it's always been a little bit of a misnomer saying it's, certainly it's the community perception of like Mercy being this like very low skill character when I think that's a little bit overblown.
Yeah. I think what it is it's kind of like, it's not like low skill, but I think it's high impact for less kind of effort. I think that's where people kind of go down that kind of path from, where it's like,
well, that was it was such a big thing. It's like one button, 5 res.
I mean, you think like, how do you counter the Mercy, the old Mercy? Like, well, if you're playing Tracer, you've got to find her and kill her. Yeah. But there's 4 or 5 rooms you've got to search before the fight breaks out, and it's
see that Mercy hiding? That was a skill.
No. It was not a skill.
But it's not. But again, that's not really necessarily fun skill. And that's why we get to the point. It's like, okay, let's check.
Well, this is the thing, right? Even the changes to like Roadhog, they seem kind of fun. The changes to Junkrat are obviously for fun. Yeah. Let's just give him more concussion bombs. Yeah, that is.
Well, and even going back before that, where it's like the explosives didn't hurt him anymore.
Yeah.
Then again, that was just something that's like, oh, I don't have to worry about the grenades in the face.
Yeah. So like, you can see like, I guess another question is like, how much input do you take from the pro scene, or the very highest end of the, well, I guess not the ladder, but the pro scene specifically when it comes to balance? Is it like, is priority placed on that, or is it?
I mean, in terms of like priorities, I mean, it's definitely like another source of like very important feedback for us. We actually have some channels to allow them to provide feedback in a very direct fashion. Yeah. We collect that. But the interesting thing of like a lot of their feedback is the same. It's actually a similar kind of feedback that someone that's like, middle of the ladder, in terms of like, oh, I'm just not having fun playing Cowboy anymore because D.Va. Right? That's there's so a lot of things that we adjust for the pro player, in terms of making it more fun, that's good for everyone. Yeah. But again, we're very cognizant, and certainly it's like, I know I try to watch a whole lot of VODs, trying to get a sense for like, hey,
well, I noticed on your Twitter you were tweeting about the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, try to. Again, sort of just like understanding the meta. Again, like how it's changing. It's been really super interesting with Doomfist. Like recently, some of the Korean teams I know, like in contenders this last, like, I guess it's probably playing tomorrow, but well, but like, he's definitely like changing things, but like I don't think like all the ramifications of him have really sort of made their way.
Well, what do you think? What do you think they're going to be though? What other ramifications are we going to see? I don't know. Like, what do you guys predict?
It's weird. Like I would have never predicted, MVP Space beating Lunatic High with like Farah Doomfist. Like I'm not even sure. That's a VOD I haven't like watched yet, but I need to look at it and just go like,
Farah Doomfist is such a weird combination as well. Yeah. Like it shouldn't work, but did.
But it did, weird. Right? So, I mean, and we'll see.
Because, I mean, I remember my initial reaction was, oh, Doomfist, so he's just going to kill Winston. So all I'm going to do is play like a peel Doomfist and just wait for Winston. Winston dives in, I'm going to smash him. But it kind of didn't really work out like that, or it hasn't felt like that to me on the ladder anyway. Like, you can kind of do it, but it's not. Yeah, it's like things, and D.Va, like I'd be like, oh, D.Va's going to get removed. But D.Va works quite well with Doomfist, right? Yeah, but D.Va works quite well with Doomfist. So, and then now it's like,
well, because Defense Matrix is still really good.
You've just got to be good at using it now, right?
You have to be more selective in its use.
Okay.
Not quite such a broad spectrum of
more selective. That's very diplomatic.
But yeah, I mean, we'll see with Doomfist. So, like, the interesting thing about him is, which is a little bit, I think, the same thing with Winston in terms of, do I go all in with him, or do I play more defensive? Go in, but then like leave abilities that allow me to get out.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah,
I mean that's I think a very interesting thing with those characters. And I think, and it's always there's always a little bit of like the techniques of like playing a character offensively.
Yeah.
Those come faster than the counters.
Yes.
For any,
I've always said this.
Character.
Yeah, I think it's always easier to be more aggressive than learn how to rein yourself in.
Yeah. But I mean, even just like, hey, it's like, oh, Doomfist, and he is going like totally ham on my team.
Yeah, yeah.
What do we do?
How do we counter it? What's the defensive?
Yeah. Like, you know, what do we have? You know, do we have to like prioritize Doomfist over this other like tracer that's giving us problems? Like, what do we need to do? Like, how do we prioritize that? So that's where I think it's really interesting. The meta is definitely like I think shifting around. I mean, certainly with the Junkrat changes, those are gonna. We'll see what happens. I mean, there's some speculation seeing that maybe like 120 damage on the mines is too much, but we'll see.
Yeah.
That's something we might end up adjusting again. We'll have to actually see how it plays out more.
So
like PTR is great, but at the same time, like we don't get a whole lot of high-level competition on the PTR. Right?
Really? Really? Yeah. So like, what do you look for in the statistics then when you're looking for balance? Because I guess you're like primarily looking at the statistics first. Because is that where like things will flag up where okay, this is an issue?
It's actually a lot of it's actually more player feedback. To be honest, it's sort of a triumvirate of like player feedback. Letting us know that hey, players think that something's wrong. Yeah. Then like our own sort of experiences, and when I say player feedback, I mean like feedback from forums, feedback from Reddits, all of them. Our own team, people in the cafeteria. it's just whatever. Like everyone's ready to tell you a story about a game they just had. So, like, sort of just combining in all that, our own experiences, and our own, instincts as game designers, and then there's that question of like, well, what does the game data actually say? It's like because there's times where it's like, oh, this feels really bad, but it feels like something's wrong, but the data. Wow. I'd say that wasn't just you doing that.
That was Riptire killed him. I did nothing. I did no damage there at all. He just died.
it just looked really cool. And the data is sort of like this sort of. The data has no feelings.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to look at that and sort of just double check things. And certainly, like it's data, statistics. We have to be careful about like interpreting them correctly.
Yes.
Certainly they can. Again, that's something I've been. A lot of the previous.
So have you made any mistakes? Have you made any mistakes? Well, have you made any mistakes in Overwatch then? Where we're looking at the data and maybe you've made a change which hasn't worked out, or anything like that that you can admit.
No, that I can admit. Oh, I admit a lot. If anything, I'm just trying to think of like the right one. Like, there's some weird things about the statistics and like. Like one of the things that we've I think we've talked about a little bit is that wow, that's bold on that Reaper's part. Or bold, correct. Like Symmetra has like actually a really high win rate.
Oh yes, yeah. But there's a reason because of the style of play of her, where it's like, oh, you play her. And like on the defense, and if you're doing really well, you stick with her. If not, you switch. Yeah. So it's like that switching off actually like changes the win rates around. I think from the Reddit post there were people asking about Symmetra quite a lot, saying they've got high win rates, but they seem to be getting low SR gains.
Yeah,
and they don't know why.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
That's something where I'm glad the person who posted that actually like gave all the links.
That was a great.
I'll check that out when I get back in the office. And that's something where certainly there might have been something we missed in terms of like when we put in the shield generator. I'm not sure. I mean, I remember going in and making changes for that, but again, that's something that we'll just. I mean, all that stuff with the personal performance. That's something we're definitely. We need to go back and look through it hero by hero basis. We're like making some pretty big systemic changes that I can't really talk about, but
any hints?
Not really. But again, trying to because what I think everyone's been really saying is like, hey, don't penalize me for playing the hero that I need to play to win.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think with that, we're like, with that in mind, with that totally aligned, let's make sure that that's the case. Now, there's one of these things where I'm sure there's always going to be like a certain amount of like perception versus reality, and that's something that we'll have to continue to like keep an eye on. We'll have to continue to adjust. Like one thing about some of these like Season 6 changes, it's going to take a little bit of time for the system to work itself, like to readjust and work itself out. So
are there any changes to Season 6 that are like undocumented to the Matchmaker? Anything that's interesting?
Not really that I can talk about.
But you've got to understand as well, guys. You can't really give too much information on the way the Matchmaker works, because then you can abuse it. It's like you kind of have to be.
I mean, and it's the kind of thing of like we really just want to sort of build the Matchmaker to be something that you trust that it does the right thing. That's incumbent on us to actually create that kind of situation, which is why some of like a couple of the changes that we made for Season 6 are actually trying to help with that, because like for instance, like being able to like lower to have your skill tier reduced, which is something previously Master and Grandmaster could happen, but like
but it didn't happen to the other ones.
It happened to the other ones, and a lot of that was to try to address the situation where I'm in gold. There's all these like other gold players that I'm getting matched with, but there's this platinum person. And in reality, they didn't actually have the SR of a platinum player.
They were a gold player, but they just had the badge.
But it makes the match. But it makes you like wonder like what was the Matchmaker doing? And a similar kind of thing with like the reduction. We got rid of the minus 200 SR at the start of the season because what was happening there was that like people were getting. It was an intended where you get more for a win than a loss. For like up to like 40 or 50 games.
50 games, I was told.
Around that. But again, like people were starting to cherry pick, like looking at SR like just on those games. And it was just confusing people. Yes,
because they're not the correct values.
Right, and so like all these like sort of things, like really trying to like make the Matchmaker not look stupid. And also make it not act stupid. That's first and foremost. But part of that is actually not making it look stupid as well. Right. And that's where a lot of the things we do with the Matchmaker, it's not just because all it's really like folks, all the Matchmaker is really trying to do is put you in fair matches. That's really it. That's it. And to do that, it like tries to figure out how good you are in skill terms, so we could put those people together. And ideally, it's like, hey, if it's a fair match, it's more fun. And it means you win half the time and you lose half the time, and people forget about that losing half the time. I think a lot of cases. But that's the idea, right? It's more fun if they're fair matches. So I mean, that's why like the Matchmaker does a lot of things in terms of matching groups against similar size groups. I mean, it's pretty rare to actually see, if you're a solo player. Well, if your group is 6 solo players, you hardly ever see, like a group of 6 on the other side. You practically never do that.
Guys, I am reading the chat, and I will take some questions from that in a second, but we'll just carry on as we are for now. It's fine.
I'll be here a while, don't worry.
Awesome.
And I've got water.
Is this mine? I'll have this one as well.
Right, cool.
So, like, about the... you're saying, like, certain changes which should help people like... Okay, so...
Hey, we're not done. And by the way, when I talk about changes of Season 6, I mean, there's still more we want to do.
Well, it's a whole debate about role select, and I know role select inherently has a problem where you don't want to be forcing metas and all of that stuff.
Sure.
But there is like a certain core to an Overwatch team. Like I guess you want a healer, right, or some sort of support, or a tank. Like, because sometimes in season in the last season, you can often feel like you're almost playing like you're rolling a random dice, hoping your team is not like 5 DPS or something like that.
Sure.
Is there like anything?
Again, that's something where I mean, if we can address that, hopefully that's something we can make it, allow the Matchmaker to help with that. Which is like sort of like a lot of different like possibilities there. And this is what I'm talking about, like things in the future we also want to potentially look at. Things like, hey, can we get a tank into the team? Can we get a healer into the team? Can we try to prevent 3 of the same? If we can prevent like 3 players who play the same main, whatever it is.
Well, that's actually preventing people playing the same main. Like, is that something you're looking at? Like, I mean, because it's definitely.
And I said it's not just about Mercy mains or
no,
a lot of
it's usually like Genji and Soldier and Tracer.
Exactly.
That's what I find.
And I mean, and talking about players who, you know, they specialize in like one hero, I mean, it's pretty natural. I mean, I mean, definitely, like, you know, a lot of times in the ladder, like, you know, if you're not playing the, you know, the hero like you're best at, wow, that was bold, sir.
Yeah, but I popped my ult to get out of there. Soldier count is really hard though. Soldier is a really hard count.
Yeah, sure. Especially
Worth though, worth. Worth.
But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty natural thing because, like, if you're not playing the character like you're good at, other people might even ask you. It's like, hey, why aren't you playing?
Oh yeah, yeah,
the character,
the
character you're good at? Like, so, you know, some of that is pretty natural. So I think it's just, again, can the matchmaker do something to like try to prevent that?
Yeah, to prevent that from happening.
Prevent that happening, because not only will that mean that you'll get a fairer match, you know, because it's like, hey, the person that's in the match will hopefully be playing a hero that they're best skilled at.
Yeah.
But it also helps with toxicity in terms of, it's like, oh, two heroes, you know, they play the same thing, and one of them really wants to play.
Yeah.
You know, and might, you know, act in a bad way.
Might act in a bad way. Might act in a bad way.
Trying to be diplomatic here. Keep it PG, you know, for, you know, UK 12 or whatever it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's good that that's being looked at though, because, I mean, I remember that the reason why I got my first ult account was because I had like a few hundred hours on Reinhardt, and like I wanted to play Soldier, and I'd go into competitive, and it's like, oh, can you play Ryan? And I'm like, yeah, okay, sure.
They see you played Ryan. Yeah, it's like, oh, you can play Ryan.
Yeah, just play Ryan.
Great.
It's like,
you should really play Ryan.
Okay, so that was legitimately the reason why I got my account.
You should play Ryan.
Ryan is right. I like Ryan now.
No,
I like his fix now.
No, it's just like, yeah.
It's good that Ryan's kind of coming back as well. He's been a bit
out
of the game.
Interesting, yeah. Oh, and Orisa changes as well.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, I think people are sleeping on her as well a little bit. So,
all right, chat. We'll take some questions from you for a bit, and then we'll check out some of the stuff on Reddit. What I'm trying to do, guys, is obviously I can't ask every single question possible. We would be here all day. I don't think we wouldn't get to leave. We'd just be. Everybody would be on the dismantle the whole place.
Let's go for it.
All right, guys, come on, give us some good questions then. So, thoughts on the matchmaker taking into account, getting the chat spammed out. Thoughts on the matchmaker taking into account Smurfs, i.e. a game earlier with 5 Smurfs. Myself included on a team, we roll on the other team. Is this ever going to be considered?
I mean, if the Smurfs are at their right skill rating,
they're not really Smurfs. Yeah. I think that's a bit of a fallacy where people are like, Smurfs are ruining my game. Because from what I've noticed anyway, it tends to match, especially when I start a new account, even just in quick play. You know, maybe by level 10 or 15, I'm kind of like playing against people who I kind of would be playing against anyway. So I don't know. Any plans for competitive deathmatch?
So I mentioned that as a possibility, and I think it's just... I think what it really comes down to is like the feedback from deathmatch on the PTR has actually been really positive, which is really great to see.
It's so great, deathmatches.
So, I mean, if it is really popular and that's something of like, hey, you know, what can we continue to do to support it, I think competitive deathmatch might be a pretty natural thing. I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, certainly probably not in the very short term, but I think it's a really interesting idea, and certainly I know that
all the blue beams.
Wow. With the Orisa ult too.
Yeah.
Oh, but you got hacked.
But
it's your weapon, so.
There is actually a funny bug where you get put to sleep and you can still fly.
yeah.
It is PTR, guys, so it's
PTR,
like there's problems.
Things happen on PTR. So, yeah, again, those sort of the...
Do you feel any pressure to put out a new healer, a new support that's healer specific and not a fancy support like Symmetra?
Sure. I mean, pressure. I mean, certainly we've seen that feedback.
Yeah.
And I think we definitely would like to bring more, you know, like supports that are healers into the fold.
Yeah.
Exactly when that'll happen. Can't say.
Let's have a look. Oh yeah, what's happening with the Mercy achievement? Because Mercy has an achievement where she...
yeah, we're going to change it.
It's changed?
We're going to change it.
Isn't it difficult to change achievements on console though? Trophies and stuff. I'm sure I heard that from somewhere at some point.
Yeah.
No.
That's a very dangerous monkey.
A very dangerous monkey in a very small area.
We're working out with the consoles.
Yeah.
So. Like they understand it's one of those things of it's like we're making this change to Mercy for the betterment of the game. It's really exciting and everything else. We shouldn't let the achievement hold us back for that. So I mean they're great partners and they're understanding about that kind of stuff.
Awesome. So who's the best on the dev team at Overwatch? Who's got the highest SR?
Oh my goodness!
Can we ask you your SR?
It's not mine. It is not mine. I am right about average actually.
Which is?
Let's get you back out there.
About average. I'm embarrassed, actually.
Oh, come on, rank doesn't matter, right?
No. No. Not right now. No. Right now it really matters a lot. So there's one of our server programmers, Ryan Morey's really, really good. He's actually the he's the programmer who actually took it on himself to, and he said, like, I think deathmatch is an awesome idea, and I'm going to prototype it, and he did it. And
yeah, well, actually, that's a good. So what is the deal with deathmatch? Like, why did deathmatch come out at the time it did? Because it just suddenly came out of nowhere. It's like boom, deathmatch. Because one of our server programmers, his name's Ryan Morey, thought it would be awesome.
So he just did it.
And he just did it. It's great when you're a programmer, folks, because you can just
do stuff.
You can just do stuff. But like he prototyped it. We had a blast with it. We had a new level designer come on the team, and he worked on the map for that. And he was really excited to work on like a deathmatch map. And the more we worked on it, the more we realized, hey, this is just really cool. Let's put it in. Let's polish it. The artists, are great. Our level artists that do the amazing job, turning it into the chateau.
The map is amazing.
Yeah,
the map is
that
awesome.
was just like how fast that happened, and like they're just amazing. So it really was just something where it was like, hey, someone had an idea, we thought it was cool, we thought it was fun, and we just went with it. And it's kind of same kind of thing happened with Lucille Ball.
Yeah.
Lucille Ball was one of our level designers, Dave Adams, coming up with a prototype, and us like starting to play it and going, hey, this is really fun. And it just sort of snowballs, like the infectious feeling of like, oh, we could totally do this.
Yeah.
And like the team, the Overwatch team, like there's so many like amazing individuals on it. Where it's just like, and everyone gets together and like it starts turning into this thing where like it all snowballs into something really awesome.
So is it like what is the current priority for the team now, or is that classified? Do you have priorities? Like, is there like a main priority, or we just
certainly, I think it's incumbent on us. Like we were committed to this like very constant update cycle.
Yeah,
There's going to be more heroes. There's going to be more maps, more events. We're doing more work with game modes, whether or not it's deathmatch or whatever. Something like there's opportunities that pop up like that sometimes, and there's others. Like I think we want to go take a look at CTF again. There's that work, and then and that's a lot of it really. And of course the other sort of big thing for us, like in the shorter term, is esports.
Yes, obviously with Overwatch League on the horizon.
World Cup and Overwatch League.
So I guess we could go into Spectator Tour and things like that.
Sure.
So have we got any sort of solid changes we can talk about in regards to that? More so than maybe you did on the other stream?
Yeah, I mean, so there's some things in terms of we really want to provide. A lot of the tools that we're initially going to provide are going to be more geared for the professionals who have to like set up the broadcast, that are doing the observing of that. So again, there it's like providing better cameras, also being able to provide like sort of like an early version of like a replay system where they can go back sort of, and instead of like creating an instant replay through like film or like digital, like going back in time like on the broadcast and doing it that way, actually going back into the game, being able to like position the camera where the action is, like for the best look, run the game forward, and then capture an instant play replay that way. So that's like some of the stuff. Again, I think people will see like just like a cleaner UI.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a lot of like improvements there. There's stuff we want to do in terms of like one of the big things that certainly like everyone's talked about that we totally acknowledge that we want to do something with is the entire red-blue switching around. It being
attacking,
super
defense,
confusing,
it gets
where
confusing
it's like,
as a spectator.
It's like, oh, the soft targeting reticules. If you're like, if you're looking at someone, they're always red because it's an enemy, even though it's like it's right. So
it's confusing. Yeah.
Basically, like, dealing with all that, and then continue to like sort of expound on like a lot of the like stat collection stuff. Actually being able to provide stats in real time for
so
our
actually,
casters.
I've got a pretty good question for that. I remember at the World Cup last year, we had some stats.
Yeah.
Were they done real time, or were they sort of like?
They were done real time.
Because that was like
a very early version of something like we're basically expounding.
Will
on.
we see any of that at BlizzCon?
Yeah, no, we'll have real time stats.
Yeah.
It's actually one of the things I'm working on.
Awesome, because I always remember like the StarCraft like overlays, where it's like the APM bar going backwards and forwards,
Yeah.
So we with things like that.
Well, there's stuff we want to do in terms of like, hey, can we like compare players to each other, and sort of like,
So
like,
which Zen is healing the most? Yeah.
Give a sense for, and I think there are some stats we're trying to figure out like which stats tell really great stories, about like how well this team is performing, if it's like, oh well, they don't really like this type of map, and this is why. It's like, are they really good at this particular composition, and why is that? Oh, it's because this player is like an amazing Zenyatta, and he makes it work. It's like, again, sort of answering the question is like, why is this team amazing?
Yeah, and then
really,
like
sort of dig into
us
that
a representation
and going, it's like, hey, it's like, well, actually, like their DPS aren't that much better than like everyone else. It's actually like the tanks.
Yeah.
And that's tricky because like actually figuring out like tanks supports, like giving them love.
Yeah, which is obviously like a big issue. Like generally cameras are on Tracer or Genji, and it's like,
something definitely we want to like try to like see like, hey, are there ways where we can measure like their success? Because certainly it's a big part of professional team of Overwatch. It's not just about the DPS fragging out.
Well, because I mean, it's impossible to gauge. Well, I say it's impossible, but it's very hard to gauge. Let's say what a Winston is doing to create space for the DPS. Like he's not going to get high elimination. I mean, he might do, but he's not going to. There's not really a stat for that as such as that.
Right, but there's things you can potentially do in terms of like noting. It's like, well, who is this Winston engaging? When he is in combat using his gun, who is it using it on?
Yeah.
Is it like is it on the enemy?
Lucio?
Is it on the how, basically it's like, so, and if he uses his barrier, what kind of damage is he preventing with that?
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's a lot of work, and it's something I think again we'll be continuing to expand upon all that stuff, adding like different capabilities as Overwatch League starts up, and as it continues, we'll keep on like working on that. Same thing with like when we talk about replays. I mean, I think there's an in-game in terms of replays that I think is super exciting, giving players the ability to look at their own replays.
Are we talking like replay files like StarCraft 2 that can be shared around, and I could like grab a replay file and load that and then just watch the game?
That's sort of the hope.
That's the hope.
That's sort of the
like how far away do you think we are from something like that?
Hard to say. Again, we've been working on technology for quite some time because it's a lot of it's like some of the same technology that drives things like plays of the game and highlights, and we're doing again a lot for it for esports. We'll see. It's hard to actually give like a really straight timeline for that, just because we've got a lot of work to do around like esports, and we'll see like how much that might end up taking more time than we think. These things are like pretty flexible.
Yeah, well, I mean, Overwatch is like it's always interesting to me because obviously I play a lot of Overwatch, and it's easier for me to follow. Like I kind of can grasp what's going on, on the screen at any given time. But when I've spoken to people who don't play Overwatch, they feel very intimidated. They're like, "Whoa, what's just happened?" I really don't know what's just happened. So I guess on-screen stats and stuff like that will give them more of an idea. I think. Things like Dota
and like I said, I think the team color situation is definitely like sort of a big thing in terms of it's like, why is this guy red? Why is this guy blue? Why am I seeing red here? Why am I seeing blue here? Like, looking at the kill feed, trying to make sense of that. And that's the kind of thing of we're definitely committed to trying to make it a game that's fun to watch, not just for someone who plays Overwatch, but someone that's like, hey, you should watch this cool thing because wow, look at all these amazing plays that are happening. These moments like Overwatch. It's a wonderful game at creating these
epic
crazy
moments.
Epic moments. And it might be someone getting a 4 or 5 kill with
that's
a
very
bomb
easy
or
to show.
whatever. But there's like even crazier stuff out there. And that's where I think when it gets to the point where it's like, oh, it's the interaction of this team working together. It's like, oh, this play was not just one person making an awesome play, but like a team coordinating to set up
Yeah.
an awesome play.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Those are the kind of stories that I think are even more compelling to tell.
It's going to be interesting to see those changes then when they eventually come out. I mean, I can't wait for the World Cup, obviously, because of Team UK.
Yes,
but
they qualified.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, they did really well.
They did really well. It was awesome. But it'd be good to see those. All right, chat, I'm going to take some more questions. It's very hard taking questions and we're trying to play the game and talking at the same time. Does it feel odd playing a game that you've been part of creating?
No.
Why would that feel odd?
No.
What kind of a question is that?
It feels great.
Yeah, it feels awesome. Right, okay, recently control was changed. Is 2CP being looked at to prevent defense bias on second point? Which actually was one of the questions that I was going to ask. So I guess we can go into that.
Yeah, so I think we actually like snuck that into 113, I think. Or
yeah.
maybe it's in 114, but like
there was the
general idea is that like if a team has multiple players on an objective, and it's not just, by the way, it's not just assault maps, it's not just the 2CP maps, it's elsewhere. Because certainly you see similar kind of behavior, you know, with a payload at the end of some of the maps where you see kind of like the streaming in of heroes there as well. If you have multiple people on the objective for, I believe it's 30 seconds, then the defenders start having their respawns.
Well, yeah, I mean, even with that's in the game now, you still often do get into a situation where you might feel like you've gone in and kind of had a commanding win, like you've beat them effectively, but they still trickle in on the point and slowly manage to turn it around. Is that something like you're cool with, because it's like the enemy team have managed to sort of...
I think it's cool in the right amount.
Yeah.
You know, like, you don't want to have the defense go like, oh, there's just no way we can come back. You know, them having like that glimmer of hope in some cases, like especially if, and there's a case where the offense did an amazing job. They did. You know, there's different qualities of team fights.
Yeah.
You know, there's the like, oh, we just barely won this team fight, and 3 of us died.
Yeah.
And we maybe get some progress on the point.
So is that why Mercy's res was changed as well? Because like you can have a high quality team.
No, not just that. But you know, making it so where you know the quality of the team fight win also matters.
Yeah.
And you see that because it's not just about the one team fight that you win. It's about how much you win, how much control progress you're able to make on that.
Yeah.
And the nice thing, I think, one thing that I'm not potentially like I think we have a little bit more leverage now because I think with the changes that we made some time ago, so where, you know, if we take, you know, percentages matter, it's not just about 100% or 0%.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you can break ties based on how much you get. So if you do have the really strong, you know, team fight that results and you're able to take 90%, that still means a whole big, that's really super meaningful.
Yeah, a really good push, yeah.
Right. So, yeah, the right amount.
The right amounts.
We don't want to like going on for 4 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever. Like we've seen those videos and like we look at that and go, oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's like, what is this? Yeah.
All right, what are we doing here? So, yeah, but the right amount.
Uncle Swag, hello. He says team colors red and blue should use the same color versions of the base skin. So I guess like, yeah, when you talk about the obviously red and blue identifying the teams, are we going to see more specific esports skins that are more like, we've got the base skin, but it is clearly like a red D.Va and then like a blue D.Va? Are we going to see that kind of thing?
We'll see, but we're definitely looking into it.
Awesome. With the season now being shorter, are you worried about people throwing and leaving because the season ban won't be as long?
Wow.
Okay.
So one of the things we're also talking about doing is like if you are actually like basically like sort of suspended for an entire season. Yeah. If you're suspended for multiple seasons, you're a naughty boy. Yeah. Well, seriously. Yeah. You know, it's like, hey, if you can't be a good citizen and play well over like 3 seasons, you don't need to come back. Yeah.
Prepare your defenses.
Okay, well that's guys, I'm pretty far back in the chat, so what I'm going to do is jump forward. So if you put questions in, put them back in again, because obviously it expands up too quick.
They'll put them back.
Yeah, they'll put them back.
So quick.
Please don't ban them mods either. Will the improved Matchmaker account for flex players?
Yes.
Well, yeah, that's the idea, right?
Yeah.
you please ask the devs if they will add servers in more regions? I have 100 plus ping in the EU region and 250 in NA. Oh, Jeff Goodman. I don't think it's the real one.
I don't think it's the real one either. I know where he lives. Maybe it depends. That's something I think we're always evaluating, but I don't really have any info on that. But I was just talking with like a South African fan.
Oh yes, because they do have a big, because they have to connect to Europe, don't they?
Yeah,
and that's.
But it was actually nice because he was really talking about how it was kind of cool because he was actually still able to play. He felt like it was actually a really good, not like the best experience possible, but like it's still actually possible to play.
I guess they
have fun.
Yeah, a pretty bad time down there. And I guess things I would never really think about living in Europe, but there you go. Any new events coming? Well, I mean, obviously, it's not. You're going to tell us what the next event is.
Summer games.
I know you want a new event, and a new map, and a new cinematic, and a new loads of hero redesigns.
But the answer to that is yes.
Yes. Good question.
Just wait.
Would you ever prefer to play as a category Q? For example, get people to select what they prefer to play with. So that's going into role select again, which we kind of spoke about.
It's
which
we don't think it would work really well in Overwatch. There's a tremendous number of issues to solve, and at the end of the day, there would be other problems that would exist because of it. DPS queue times would probably skyrocket.
It'd be kind of like World of Warcraft, right? So queue as a tank or a healer, instant queues, right? Okay. Is there ever going to be a game pause if someone Oh, okay, this seems like a pretty good question. Is there ever going to be a game pause if someone disconnects? The game should pause maybe for 1 minute because of the time it takes them to get back if they've lagged out. Okay. Okay.
So we've talked about that for esports.
Yeah.
You know, in the situation like someone disconnected because of a PC issue, that kind of thing. So we definitely talk about that. It's a little bit trickier talking about just the normal game because it's possible to disconnect intentionally.
Yes.
So there's that one's not as cut and dry. It's the kind of thing of sounds like a really awesome idea. If you want to totally understand where the question's coming from in terms of if there weren't bad people out there, it'd be great.
Yeah, this is the thing.
Trying to deal with it with So
it's I mean, from a normal player's perspective, it is frustrating, but you've also got to think of the people that would intentionally do things to abuse the system. So you can't really cater for them. That'd be pretty bad.
Yeah.
Ask about changes to Hog. Well, I mean, that's not a very good question, so we'll keep scrolling through. Orisa
it's about Roadhog.
Okay, let's go into Roadhog.
Give the damage reduction on the healing and the movement on the healing a chance. Seriously, it's really good.
Yeah.
It turns them into just this survivable monster. Especially if you're actually getting healing from buff Mercies. We've had some playtests where we're just we can't kill Roadhog. That's what it felt. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Because we were healing. We were actually joking way back in the day of no hero limits. We had this internal tournament, and what one of the teams did was they ran 5 Zenyatas and a Reinhardt. Put the best player they had on a Reinhardt and just 5 Harmony Orbs on Reinhardt and turned him into this unkillable Reinhardt. It felt a little bit like that. But more balanced now because one hero limits. Yeah.
Yes. Thank God for one hero limit.
Thank you, one hero limit.
I remember endless tracers contesting the point.
Yes.
King of the Hill.
Yeah.
Not great.
Yeah. But yeah.
I don't know. I think the Roadhog changes I think they're pretty interesting. It's kind of funny playing them on deathmatch, running away, sort of taking a breather and scuttling away, and it's you come back here. It's crazy. And of course, he takes 50% less damage, so he's not as much as an ultimate battery anymore. So that's pretty good.
And remember, he's an ultimate battery for your team too.
Yes, yeah.
As a healer, I love. As a healer, I love my Roadhog getting hurt.
Hang on, guys. Orisa's ult seems like a weak version of Mercy's new ult. Does the development team have any plans for changing Orisa's ultimate?
Well, that's a good question. Not this moment. We'll keep an eye on it. But yeah, I mean, that's something. As a designer, I've learned quite some time ago, never say never.
Never say never.
Never say never. Again, 6 months ago, if you said, would you do deathmatch? We're no, we're a team-based game. We're all about team. why would we do free-for-all deathmatch? And he's like, oh, well, it's really fun. Oh, okay.
It really is fun as well. It really is fun. Like, I want to see deathmatch with, like, hero kit pickups all over. Like, I basically want it to turn into Quake. So I want, like, Roadhog's weapon on the floor, Pharaoh's rocket launcher on the floor, and I want to run around and turn into Pharaoh from Roadhog. That'd be awesome.
We have talked about that.
Oh, baby.
Seriously. It's a lot of work, but that's something like, that kind of idea is out there.
We need quad damage as well. Well, probably can't call it quad damage.
Maybe not that. But.
Well, that's Mercy, right? An Orisa combo. Okay, Sombra. There's a lot of questions I've seen coming through about Sombra. And I guess I could maybe go a little bit more specific with the Sombra question. So, on maps like Temple of Anubis, you've got Sombra, who is really effective on the on both points, really. Yeah. On the final point, she's quite effective because of the large health pack. Now, obviously, Sombra's usage has kind of gone up as time's gone on with Sombra, and the players have kind of realised what to do with her. And we see her used on Volskaya, first point defense, especially at the pro scene a lot.
Yeah, especially at the pro scene,
Route 66, etc., etc. Is there any, like... it's really weird to cancel the D.Va boost now by pressing the same button. Like, usually I'd fire to cancel. Anyway, is there any sort of changes which could be coming in for, I guess, Sombra to change the rate she charges her EMP?
Maybe. It's something definitely on our watch list. Some of it's because it's not awesome that she's like insanely good on like a few maps and a few points and so forth. Like, it is good to have like some like map differentiation. Like, hey, this hero is better on like on this style of map. And I think that helps like break up the meta. Which certainly Sombra, I think, once players understood what she could do, it certainly has.
Oh yeah.
So. Again, it's sort of like finding that right amount. We definitely don't want to nerf her ult game to the point where you don't see her anymore.
Yeah.
Right. So, what's the right amount there? Or is it something we haven't like thought of?
So how do you feel about Bastion then? Because Bastion's kind of gone through that, hasn't he? Like with his 35% ironclad, he was in every game, and then
he was every game on PTR there for a little. Well, and I guess afterwards. Yeah, some of that's because.
Because now he's not seen, is he, Bastion? Like, I mean, well, I say he's not seen, is he? Is he? Yeah. Like, he's not. You got to remember, guys, Scott's got access to the stats, so he knows. Like, when I say, like, he's not seen, I'm talking from, like, where I'm playing the game.
Again, he's not seen so much at very high-level play on PC.
Yeah.
Things are a little bit different on console. Things are a little bit different, like, different skill levels. So that's, like, one of the things definitely with him that we have to be mindful of. He's very good. In some situations that in pro play not so much because his lack of mobility when he's in a turret.
Yes, yeah.
So, and right now the current prevalence of tracers and
obviously,
there's all these interactions.
Trace is another interesting one as well. She's like definitely a hero, which I don't think she's been changed since launch. Has she?
Right.
She is. She's kind of like the embodiment to me of like the hero that as the game's got older, players have got much better with Trace. It's the point now where a good tracer is extremely good, and it's like, do you worry about that? Do you think, okay, this is getting out of hand now? Because she's basically got an infinite skill cap, I guess, if you think of it that way. Maybe not infinite, but it's very high. The skill scene is very, very high, and there are players now which are like on another planet, and it's like, does that worry you? Like seeing her literally in every pro game, and or will it ever get to a point that worries you?
Not massively. It's something we were from day one. We knew with that kit. There were going to be people that specialized in her, learned to play her, got insanely good with her, and would do amazing things.
Yeah.
The kid is just that good. Is it like...
She was the first hero I played, which made me play Overwatch.
She's on the box!
Yeah, I know. She was the very first hero I played. Well, it was the... it was like really early closed beta, and she was the first hero I played, and I was like, wow. I can't believe there's a hero that blinks around and rewinds. It's like, what is this?
Yeah, she's... I think she was like one of the heroes that when people first saw what she could do, it immediately changed the idea in people's head of what Overwatch could be. It's what was possible within Overwatch.
It's like Doomfist as well. Like they feel like Overwatch characters. Like you could say with Soldier, I know he's supposed to be like the generic FPS guy, but it's like you can see Soldier style characters in other games. It's like Reinhardt as well. In an FPS game, they're very like Overwatchy characters, and I guess Tracer is kind of like an embodiment of that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, back to the question of like, is she too insane?
Yeah.
Don't think so. like, I mean, it's really cool having those characters that do reward that kind of dedication, that kind of immense skill. So, I mean, but we'll see. Again, never say never.
This is like, we can't ever rule anything out because it just may appear one day.
You never know.
All right, guys, I'll try and grab some more. Let me just die. It's the best time I can get questions when I'm dead. All right, let's go. So, oh, different weapon skins. Yeah, okay. So weapon skins, I guess, is a thing. Like with obviously we've got Jeff has been very vocal saying he kind of regrets the fact we've got golden weapons in the game, which incentivizes comp for kind of the wrong reasons.
Sure.
Are there any plans for weapon skins in the future, or is this going to be one of these never say never moments?
It's looking like one of those never say never moments. I mean, it's something that's not in our short-term future, certainly. We're really enjoying making, full skins for the characters.
Yeah.
Those are a lot of fun for us. They're very well received from players. And the weapon skins, we'll see. It's a possibility, but yeah, never say never.
So I guess actually we could kind of stay on the topic of skins. So we know, based off, I believe it was the Overwatch League player, maybe it was a press release or something, that there will be Overwatch League specific loot items or loot boxes, like maybe team specific stuff. I'm sure something along the lines of that was mentioned in a press release somewhere, I think. I don't know.
Not really sure.
Is that something we're going to see with the start of Overwatch League, possibly? Or something that might come later?
That one's really difficult to say. Certainly, there's a lot of possibilities there. There's room for a lot of it. I'm excited about it personally.
Yeah.
I
really
think a lot
excited,
of other players would be. Exactly how that takes shape, what it means. Is it a loot box? Is it something else? Those are all kind of questions we still have at this point. So, but we're definitely looking at all that, because that's one of the really awesome things about the way Overwatch League is structured is that you have these teams. You want to like, hey, this is like my team. This is the team I root for. You want to be able to show off the fact that you're rooting for, and you want to be able to express your support. I mean, I think that's one of the core things about any sport, really. Being able to say like, hey, I support these guys. I support this team.
Yeah, it's sort of my local team. Yeah. Scoreboard. Let's talk about scoreboard, because there's a lot of questions coming through with scoreboard. You did mention that there will be more statistics for like the Overwatch World Cup and going into Overwatch League. Does that mean we're going to be seeing like a scoreboard in like that kind of mode? I mean,
unlikely, but I think you'll see more of those kinds of stats in match history.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of thing of like, hey, because again, it's kind of thing of like the stats I've been talking about are like deep analytical things for you to ponder and go like, what does this mean? The answer is 42, but like, what does this mean? That's like, in the middle of the game is not necessarily the best place to do that.
Let's sit down and have a conversation about these highly complicated stats.
So, but like match history, when you can look back and like, at the end of a night go like, well, how well did I play? You can look at it and say like, oh, wow. And I think there's some interesting stuff we can potentially do in the future in terms of like, doing comparisons between like how I've been playing lately versus in the past, trying to give players some guidance towards
full-on graphs and comparisons. Are we going like that deep? Could we?
It's possible. I mean, again, that's probably another thing that you'll probably see like a early version of it, and we'll continue to expand upon it over time.
Because that's what I remember. The very first thing I noticed with deathmatch is I pressed tab and I'm like, there's a scoreboard, and I was like, what does this mean? We're going to start seeing more scoreboardy things like in the game. But yeah, that's cool. All right, so actually, any chance of a customizable UI even? You've probably got a WoW fan here.
It's still unlikely. I mean, I think the customizable crosshairs I think worked out pretty well. That's something I think like everyone sort of has a different idea about exactly what's the right like crosshair for them. We do have some concerns about like giving that kind of customizability for everything.
I guess it would have gameplay implications as well, because you could do certain things to.
It's something where we'd have to make careful that they didn't.
Yeah.
Right. So it's something. It's a bit more involved. It's something where I'd rather we could spend time to work on that, or there's other things we could also be spending time on in terms of like, because pretty much everything for our game requires UI.
Yeah.
So time spent UI, like adding
yeah,
like customization, probably means that they're not able to work on something else.
So there's actually an interesting change on the PTR with being able to see who is dead. Instead of the skull, we get the player icon. I think there's always been an issue with the objective markers not having transparency settings. Is that something? But then, like I see Nepal Shrine, I think it is, which is generally the worst offender, I think, on the point, where you just sort of see
because of the position,
the position of like capture the point kind of thing. When people start dying on the point, do you think that it's going to become kind of cluttered? And would there be an option to maybe get rid of them? I mean, I like the information it gives you. Like
that's part of the thing.
Like
it's something we've tried. It's something we put on the PTR. There is a concern. It's like, hey, it does obstruct, and that is something we're cognizant of. It's been an issue with the objective markers. But is the thing of like, oh, and again, do we provide it for everyone, or just Mercy, or just like Mercy or supports, or there's a bunch of questions there that I think we're like really sort of like working through ourselves. So if you have opinions about it, go to the PTR forums. Let us know. Again, because I think that issue affects different people and who play different heroes differently. I've personally never been bothered by it, but I understand there's definitely some people that do.
So there was a very direct question, and it said, what is the point of placement games? Why are placement games still a thing if we're going into essentially placing you where you ended last season, or as close to that?
There's a little bit. Right now, to be honest, there's not a lot. It's just straight up. There's not a huge amount. There's a little bit of ceremony to it, sort of saying, hey, the new season started, and this is part of it. Could we see a world where part of a new season isn't completing more placement matches? You can just roll straight into it. Placement matches are just something for someone who's playing for the first time, first getting into competitive. That's certainly on the table. It's something like definitely we're considering for the future. Again, we're working through a lot of this stuff out. Like, a lot of it will come down to like exactly, now that we've changed it from 3 months to 2 months, what else does that mean? What other changes might we need to do to better support 2-month seasons?
But it's something that obviously we need time to find out as well. Like you need the information from the season to see how it kind of performs. Any plans to allow players to use the practice range while queuing? That would be nice. Or go into deathmatch.
It's something that does seem really convenient. There are potential issues, and this is just mostly a technical thing, in terms of whenever you open up a practice range instance, that's something that the server needs to keep track of, and it takes up some server resources. So we have to be careful about that being used too much, or something like we at least need to have a better understanding of how that be used and what that means for the service as a whole, or do something like that. But, I mean, I certainly understand where you're coming from in terms of that question. Yeah,
that's cool. I'm going to drop down to the bottom of the chat again, guys, so keep them coming through. All right, so... connections between the PTR. That's actually a pretty good question. So, connections, like incentives to play on the PTR.
Yeah.
Because, obviously, PTR, by comparison to live, has a pretty small player base. And generally, it kind of... By the way it is, it encourages bad design. Like, obviously, we'll notice somebody's left this game here because they couldn't get... Well, I guess they could have got D.Va if they wanted to, but generally people are trying to test D.Va and Mercy right now. So is there anything planned for that in the near future? Like, sort of, I don't know, maybe transferring XP across or something? I don't know.
Again, it's something... Definitely feel the pain. Definitely understand where you're coming from. It's non-trivial. Something we might end up doing in the future, just because of the reasons we're talking about. Really want to make PTR an awesome place where you can go in and test. Again, it's trickier while there are events going on. Totally agree with that. Hopefully, we'll get a lot more people playing PTR once summer game's over. You
should always try and play PTR guys as well. Don't just play one game then leave. Try and at least get a couple of games in. More data, I suppose.
Well, I mean, it's not just more data, but I think you'll be able to give better feedback for us. I think a lot of it is there's always, whenever we announce, a change, there's a lot of speculation. People giving their off-the-cuff
it's usually like knee-jerk reactions,
right.
like Mercy is suffering this right now.
There's value to those comments, understanding like what is the knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah,
right. We need to understand what that is, but we also need to now that I've played it, now I understand that there's a little bit more to whatever this is, or maybe it's like, my initial opinion was totally right. Everything, Blizzard designers, you're all idiots, whatever, But
how do you deal with that, like on a personal level? Bad feedback, negative feedback, like
we all learn to keep a pretty thick skin.
Yeah.
There's passionate feedback that is brusque and but as long as it's respectful, it's fine.
Yeah.
Right. And it's kind of thing of like, if you're insulting us just to insult us, okay, there's an issue there.
I mean, I can relate to this as well.
But again, if it's just like, hey, think about this, and again, the best way to feedback, let us know of an issue, giving like any kind of like sort of evidence along with that, whether or not it's like links to videos, like it's the more this support, being able to support your position helps.
Yeah,
being able to provide, it's
providing
like,
evidence is key.
Yes.
Yeah.
So but if you can't play PTR, it's great. We appreciate it.
Yeah, it would be awesome, guys. I'm trying to pull questions out really quick, and then I'll drop into the Reddit thread for a sec. Let's have a look. You get really fast at reading the chat, like when you start streaming, like speed through it. Actually, spectation in comp. There's actually a lot of people asking for, can I spectate my friend while he's playing competitive? Even from like a coaching perspective, that would be quite cool. Like you could help your friend out, or would that be considered too good? If you're giving them additional information as they're playing the game, is that maybe the reason why we kind of don't have that or won't have it?
We have to be really careful about that one.
Yeah.
That's another one that, if it weren't for bad people, man, it'd be really cool. But again, I think there's definitely something interesting there. I think to skip ahead to something else, because folks, I did read the Reddit thread that he put up before coming here. I tried to be prepared for this. There was like one of the interesting things was in terms of like, hey, could we spectate high-level games that like just that are like going on, or even better, like could we spectate contenders games within the client?
Yeah.
So we actually you have your own control over what you're seeing. You're not relying.
Yes,
on,
because
I think those ideas we're super excited about.
Super excited to the point of we're working on them heavily.
To the point of we would like to work on them.
I mean, so like that again is something I get from a lot of feedback from people, where it would be, they might be a Reinhardt player, so they want to exclusively watch this Reinhardt Pro. They do not, like they may want to watch, Kaiser or somebody play Reinhardt. They don't want to watch the Genji, so it's hard for them with current streams to do that.
Totally.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the performance-based SR and the idea of at a certain level this becomes pure win-loss to possibly promote teamwork.
Sure.
Is that a good or is that a bad idea?
So, one note, completely flat SR gain, SR loss. One thing we do want to keep track of is like, while the Matchmaker does a pretty good job of trying to keep it at 50-50.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's not actually possible. It's 53-47. There are some slight differences there, and we definitely do want to make it so where if you are an underdog and you win, you would get more SR than if you were favored and win. So that
I get you.
At the very least, there's that.
Yeah.
So that's sort of like a factor there. Now going on furthermore to the sort of the performance-based stuff, we still think it's a pretty good idea. A lot of it is it encourages people to play well always. It's something where it's like, hey, if you throw, you lose more SR because you're not performing very well.
Yeah.
I think it actually does. People talk about it's like, oh, it doesn't promote playing as a team, but man, if I win a team fight, my personal performance is usually pretty good too.
Yeah, usually
there's a whole lot of correlation. There's a whole lot of correlation there.
Yeah.
You know, so, and again, it does provide us, like, what some of the things it currently does is allows, you know, if you do create a new account, you do get to where you're supposed to go, and a lot of that is because of performance base.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't want like
right.
a higher level.
I know you've been asking. It's like, well, once you're like all at the super high level.
Yeah, so like my idea was like, you know, you hit, I guess, diamond. Like, but actually, do you like what is the percentage breakdown like of? If you can even remember this, like we're like say what population is in diamond?
I posted it on the forums at one point.
Yeah.
And my last time I looked, it hadn't seemed to change that much.
Yeah.
But I don't remember exactly what the percentages are, and I don't want to like say it right now and that become a thing.
Yeah.
But if you go back and check the forums about what I said about that previously, it's still about that. So and I think one of the big things when I did post it that people didn't understand was that there actually aren't as many masters, grandmasters, and even like diamond players than they thought.
Yeah.
A lot of the third-party sites, their percentages are skewed by the fact that like they don't actually have
all the profiles.
players.
Yeah, because don't you have to actually search for your So like things like Master Overwatch and Overbuff and stuff like that, they're not entirely accurate, in terms of gauging the player base. Yeah.
But if you use internet search, you can go back and hopefully find that forum post, and that's something I can possibly make an update when I get back. But they're pretty stable right now. So I think going back to sort of the personal performance stuff, again, we do understand, and I think we've been making changes to get to the point where we really want you playing the hero you feel like gives your team the best chance to win.
Yes,
and you shouldn't have to worry about this other thing and like the effects of that on your SR.
Yeah.
You know, we've always talked about it in terms of like, hey, don't forget if you lose, like it's like, oh, I'm going to play this hero hell or high water. Well, if you lose the game, you don't get any SR at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. You know, winning is still the most important thing.
Yeah.
So we feel like there's still value. We still want to make these improvements to the system to handle all the situations. So again, hopefully like people feel very confident in it. It's something where it's doing the right thing. It's providing, again, and if it's all working, it's providing you better matches. Again, if we can identify your skill well, quickly, then we can get you into better matches faster. Yeah. Which is, again, the big thing the Matchmaker is trying to do. It's just trying to get you into fair matches as fast as possible. Didn't run from that. Why did you run from that? You're just like staring at it.
I was just like,
oh, you had a Mercy.
I remember the Mercy, right?
All right.
Anyway. I was trying to do like 3 things at once. I'm like, anyway, carry on.
Yeah, but there's some things in terms of, again, a lot of what it's trying to do is just provide you with fair matches as fast as possible. Yeah. It's not like, it shouldn't be like thought of as like it's like of this super like competitive system. It's not really doing that. It does some things about it, but like it's not like a full-blown tournament. You know, there's always going to be some quirks about like matchmaking in top 500. It's based upon like, oh, this guy on the top 500 plays at this. He plays in the early afternoons. I play late in the hours. You never play each other. It's not like a perfectly competitive system, and it's never really going to be. Yeah. I think. Oh. What's that?
Oh, okay. Guys, we've got to end the interview, unfortunately, but thanks for your question.
Well,
okay, hang on. 5 minutes? 5 minutes. We've got 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Right. So anyway, basically we're just trying to make it work. We'll keep on adjusting. We understand where everyone's coming from with it. Yeah. So give it a shot.
Well, thank you, Scott. It's been
and if it doesn't work out, we can do that. What you're talking about in terms of like, hey, the effect of the personal performance. Starts becoming less and less as you go up, higher up.
I think
that's something that's been on the table.
Yeah,
we talked about it.
The idea with that was just like you kind of you need the rapid SR kind of adjustment to put you where you need to play. But when you feel like you're at that level, it was too easy for people to just continue playing their sort of one tricks or more off meta heroes because they knew, you know, if I play Sombra, even though we're going to lose, it's not as bad for me. So I will force the other team the other team members to kind of play around me, which doesn't really feel like conducive to a team environment, which is what the game should be. Yeah.
Totally understand, and that's why again we want to make changes to where that kind of behavior is not incentivized.
All right then, guys. We'll let Scott go. Thank you very much. It's been wonderful.
Problem.
Thank you for the questions as well, guys. I think we got through quite a lot, to be honest. But sorry if we missed anything. But we can't sit here all day.
We really can't. They close the venue at some point.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. I love the final day of Gamescom where they close it and they're already ripping it down. It's like, whoa, so fast. They get rid of everything so fast. All right then, guys. Yeah, I think we'll leave it at that. I think I'm finished. Yeah, I'm definitely finished. It's 5 o'clock. I think I'm meant to finish. So, all right, guys. Thanks for coming. Thanks for all the questions. And we will catch you on the next one.
I understand.
Toodaloo.
Bye.